I need to make sure you know who I'm establishing you as, like what background you have, what authority you have to come with me to the answer. I'm telling you what I want. I'm giving you context. And I have to tell you that I told them what the task is, right? The task specifically is write the best email subject line and copy.
Hello and welcome to the Perpetual Traffic Podcast. This is your host, Ralph Burns, and the founder and CEO of Tier 11, alongside virtually in a bowling alley. In a school. In a school somewhere in Virginia is my amazing co-host,
Lauren E. Petrullo.
And we are going to see, and you've got to watch this over on our YouTube channel over perpetualtraffic.com/YouTube. Lauren is going to bowl the first time ever on a live podcast. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Can't see it. Oh my gosh, that was actually really good. She got like 7 or 8 pins down. Incredible. So
Solid eight.
Solid 8, definitely. Oh yeah. Get a, what is it called? A split. First time ever on a podcast, on a live show here. Just groundbreaking, because today's show is all about groundbreaking stuff that we've never talked about before. So we're groundbreaking on bowling alley podcasts, but now we're going to show you and compare notes on some of the stuff that the reason why you're in Virginia is because you're actually going to DC tomorrow to meet up with Meta and a bunch of Congress. Do you say Congress people? Congressmen? Because a lot of them
humans
are women.
That
Congress humans. So you're meeting with Congress tomorrow on AI in small business. So, and before we hit record here today, we were talking about all the different apps that we use. And we didn't even realize, I don't think until you actually did a training with Meta just recently, that they have their own AI app, which you went through that training. And tomorrow you're going to have some juicy details on what their overall thoughts are on AI and where things are going, especially with regard to how to use AI for small businesses. And you're a representative for that. So we're getting cutting edge stuff here. Not only just the first ever live bowling on the podcast.
I was like, do I try and do the split and just like not look? Whoops. I was like, brought to you by Carter Schools. Let me reach because I'm tethered in. I'm like, where's the hole?
Yeah. You want to try? You want to try for the spare? Yeah.
I'm just gonna kick it.
Throw it down that way. People are like, what the hell is going on with this show?
If you're not watching on YouTube.
That's right.
No.
Uh-oh, that looks like a gutter ball to me, unfortunately. All right, well, let's not throw a gutter ball on today's show here. So tell us about what your what the Meta AI training was all about and sort of why you're there. And we'll get into a sort of a deeper conversation as to where things are going, where you as a small business should be aware of a lot of the investments that Meta is making right now in AI. We've said this multiple times on the show. They're investing $65 billion in AI this year in 2025, and it's still in May. That's between now and the end of the year. That was announced after their first quarter earnings. So the point is like, this is where the puck is going, so to speak. This is where the bowling ball is going, really, in our bowling
and you don't want to strike out.
You don't want to
with
strike
being
out.
Behind on AI.
We are like mixing our sports metaphors back and forth here. So anyway, so tell us about this Meta AI training that you were on.
Okay, so full disclosure, everyone knows about Meta AI if you've been listening. We've talked about Llama, and like I use in WhatsApp, there's a Meta AI conversation thread. It's like my like personal therapy. If anyone ever unlocks my phone and goes into it, you will know.
It's like, oh my
more
God,
about me than my Goodreads account tells you. Like that's a lot. But
I had my son search my Gemini app the other day. I was like, that's kind of private. You know what I mean? But he's like, what is dad looking for? And it was actually a lot of boring stuff. Thank God.
Thank God. Oh, I can tell you none of my AI LLM models are set up to see anything boring, but like that one is very deep and personal and like extract every insecurity. Like if they use that big data, like I know exactly I'm going to be hit with every type of therapy known to human.
Lots of pharmaceuticals. So,
but it was
so
cool.
that's inside the WhatsApp, like that's inside WhatsApp,
which I've been using for I want to say like 8-9 months almost. Like I remember when it came out and like Mark Zuckerberg had done a live, and I was like, oh, I'm all about it. And I keep going back, and it has better memory in my opinion than other models. And
Is it more
because
personalized? Do you get more
it
personalized
feels,
answers?
I don't know if I can say if it's more personalized, but because it's connected to my Meta account, it's personal to me
Yeah.
versus like ChatGPT, Cloud. Everything else is connected to my work email, and I'm
Right.
doing work stuff related to it. And so like I have folders and GPTs that are like based on client stuff. So this felt like a severance type of moment for me. This is at home Lauren, not office Lauren.
No, that's very cool. That's the reason
But
why I use Gemini so much on
okay,
because it's all like because it now knows me and it knows my tone, and I find that it does get better over time. Like I don't
okay,
have to give it super detailed prompts anymore because it kind of knows what I'm asking for because of the past history. At least that's the way it seems to me. So
mhm,
plus our chat GPT accounts are a tier 11 account, and I don't want anybody seeing that. So I use that
fair.
for very specific tier 11 stuff, but my Gemini stuff is tied to my my Ralph Tier 11 email. So if that ever gets hacked, there's a lot of shit that'll come out on
Well, it
that.
has
But
your calendar and
oh yeah,
again,
it
we use
knows.
Google Suite for our emails, and I
Right.
I don't want personal mixed with work.
Interesting. Okay, so you use this. You use WhatsApp specifically for really personal stuff, not like how many tablespoons are in a half a cup or
No.
whatever. Like that's what I use Gemini for, stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I use chat or Gemini will show up because I'm using it in Google and have it there. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's more of like, how do I respond to this conversation? This is triggering something in me. What is this revealing about
Oh wow.
my inner child? It's very
Oh my
deep, like the stuff
God.
I'm almost too embarrassed to say to a girlfriend. Like
No
like my
kidding.
closest
Okay.
friends, there's I did this thing called Real Root in Chicago, where I was like doing these like matchmaking with like friends to make, and like
Mhm.
while like you have really good and deep conversations, it was still stuff I wasn't ready to bring to that girlfriend group. So I'm like, Meta AI is my
Wow.
filter.
That's super personal. I've never thought of using any of them for that. I don't know. Maybe I'm just
It's the highest use case.
yeah,
AI's
I
highest
totally
use case is for personalized therapy. No, but you have to take into a grain of salt, like I've used BetterHelp and like all these, and it's gonna sound like Lauren is mental. Anyone to be in advertising has to be a little.
yeah.
But
I think
no, it's just like
there's a little mad men and women in all of us, I suppose. So
I like to say the Mad Hatter.
mad, right.
And you have at least one impossible idea every day before breakfast. And I
Happens
enjoy
every
and
day.
love what I do. But I want to be a better communicator. I want to be a better leader. And I want to be more in tune to how I react instead of respond to different situations, both personal and professional, so I can just constantly evolve and grow. And
Mm.
AI has allowed me to be more efficient in so many areas that I can start now focusing on developing myself as an individual more and more. And so it's like growing up being an athlete in a household of like very competitive nature, like there was no time for feelings. So now I'm like exercising that right to the extreme.
So are you kind of
So,
using the meta backed by Llama 4 now, Llama 4
mhm.
Maverick, I suppose, I guess is the most recent iteration. Are you using it as like your personal therapist? Do I go that far in saying that or no?
It's to the extreme. Someone's going to think that that's what it like. I don't think it's a substitute. It's more of like talking to myself, like an inner dialogue
Okay.
kind of component where I'm like, hey, I'm reading Conversations with God, or how is this in the code of trust, right? How do I establish better communication goals for this conversation? Or how do I better relate to this individual? How do I make sure that my conversation is more about them than me?
Mm-hmm.
That type of stuff. And then I will feed it scenarios that I'm experiencing, or like moments where I catch myself being uncomfortable, and I want to unpack what made it uncomfortable so that I can understand what that is, and not have it like build up like Catholic guilt, because it's a
Super
debt I don't
interesting.
want to pay anymore.
Yeah. Well, it's on the spot too. Like, for therapy, you
Yeah.
have to go like once a week and you have to sort of remember everything. And it's like whatever
Yeah.
happened that day
Yeah.
kind of thing. I've never actually been to therapy. So I don't really
Okay.
even know. Although there was a time when I was searching for a therapist and I couldn't get one. But anyway, that's sort of
Yeah.
a whole other thing. I always sort of think like if you do that level of personal and deep,
Work.
conversations, you're going to start seeing ads in your news feed and on your Instagram
You know what?
specifically
I
because
would
it's
expect
crossing
that
that
too.
line. Doesn't
But I
sound like that's
haven't, which is funny
that's
because now
cool.
that you say that, like I would have expected to see more personalized and relevant ads,
Right.
but I haven't. And there's like I am a smut fiction girl all day long. I told you, if you look at my Goodreads, you can be like, oh my gosh, what? ACOTAR has
What?
nothing on the stuff I like to read. But I've been on this journey of like trying to like read self-development books because I got tired of being the only person in the room who's who's never read Think and Grow Rich, or like people keep talking about books. I'm like, I have not read it.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. I hear about it. So I'm trying to diversify what my Goodreads profile says, but also just like grow. I'm in my personal self-development stage of my life, I guess. But I grew up like, I had a therapist when I was in middle school. I was like so incredibly bullied as a child. When I was 12, I thought of the worst scenario and tried something that was like I would never recommend to anyone, and it was really hard. So like I saw a therapist to understand that like how I was being bullied as a child was a temporary situation that I could control.
Yeah.
That I didn't want to have to control me. So like I grew up where it was like a safe place to go and have. And I believe it's healthy for everyone. I think everyone should have a space where they talk to a professional on this. But I think most of us will still lean into like our friends, our partners, and make them be our therapists. And then that's where a lot of disagreements come up, because like, don't therapize me. But anyways, sorry, that's not what this episode's about.
Yeah. I mean, having someone to bounce something off of is different than them being your therapist. For me and Jen, like I bounce stuff off her all the time, but then it sort of bleeds into like just complaining and bitching. And, she becomes my therapist. She's like, you've already said that. Like, I've already given you a solution. Let's move on. Or you should get a therapist.
Yeah, like, hey, are those unresolved feelings? Like, oh, Lauren, like you lost your dad when you were very young. Like, and how did that make you feel? Do you think that you're echoing the same thing? Like, oh, you know what? You're right. That's not that person's role. So it's like, I think Trevor Noah said it best, that he understood that people in our lives end up like in this like virtual space, right? We don't have IRL as much as we do since the pandemic. And we put too many hats on other people, and then our expectations grow outside of what's fair. And so we ask our partners to be our mothers, our fathers, our lovers, our best friends, our therapists, our support animal. And it's just too much that we used to have in the office environment. Like you would have conversations around the water cooler. You would get your office gossip in, but now we don't have that. And we put so much on those closest to us. So that's where I've been like, having used AI for years, I'm like, can I use this as an outlet to not be so demanding of others in my life who aren't signaling that they want to play that role? And they shouldn't. They're not professionally. Neither is AI, but it is a place where I can vent. Like before, like Robbie would be like, can you call your mother first before you tell me a lot of different scenarios? Because he's like, get it off of your chest. Tell her. She loves to listen to it. And then I get to hear the brief notes, like the Cliff Notes first.
Okay. He's like, yeah, skim it off the top first, and then just give me the stuff that's underneath that, the heavy stuff. It's interesting. I think I'd never really thought about it, but I mean the AI models that we sort of think of for Meta are. It seems as if they're two separate platforms. It's Llama is the true AI, like large language model. However,
AI solution.
Yeah, exactly. And then we think of Andromeda, which there's not really a whole lot about it, but that's the thing that sort of powers the ad platform. And it seems like they live in two separate worlds almost. And I think you're an interesting use case, because if they did overlap, you would see ads based upon your conversations.
I'm going to start
100%.
looking now, because the ads that I see are like location based more often than not, or there's stuff related to like business connections or social groups, I don't think that leads into it, because it's not what I'm using it for in any capacity. But I'm a very active person, right? Like I do a new hobby every month or each quarter. This quarter, I'm taking advanced, like long form improv classes in Chicago at IO. And so like, I'm always looking for different activities to do. But the ads that I see are more relevant on what I'm interacting with versus what I'm yielding. But that's interesting. I'm going to ask some people of like, where does that crossover come from? Because I'm not necessarily opposed to it, as long as I'm provided personalized, relevant ads for where I'm at in my life all day long. Like if, say I were to be ordering ice cream with pickles as the only meal for like 6 weeks straight, it's presumably that I'm pregnant. I am not pregnant. But if I were ordering pickles and ice cream nonstop, I wouldn't be opposed to getting prenatal or like prenatal vitamin ads or how to mitigate this new life change, because it's personalized and relevant.
Because good, in that case, I mean, obviously, there's the old case of the woman finding out that Google knew that she was pregnant before she was actually pregnant, and there's been
Yeah.
so many different cases of that. I have to assume that still is the case. Like, it's funny. Like 9 weeks ago, I went vegan, and just for the hell of it, because I had already done sort of one day or one meal per day that was non-meat, which is strange because I've been a meat addict for 50 some odd years. So but I haven't seen any ads. I haven't seen anything in my socials about it's the strangest thing. So I was like, I
Mm.
wonder if they're still listening to our phones to a certain degree.
You know,
You know what I
what's
mean?
interesting
And
is,
like my search history, it's like all about that. Like, I go into Netflix and it's all these meat is bad kind of stuff and like some of
yeah.
that stuff poisoned and all these other documentaries. Like almost all those channels know. However, like I haven't seen it in the news feed quite as much. So maybe there is like a separation. Maybe there's a privacy thing happening that
Like a separation of church and state.
maybe you'll find out maybe a little bit more about that
Yeah, yeah,
tomorrow,
yeah.
which would be
I'll be
interesting.
with the AI folks at Meta, and so
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear more of what they said. It gave me access to see how they trained on Meta AI, which again, I'm saying I use it in the WhatsApp app. But if you're listening to this, did you know that there was a Meta AI app? I didn't. There's a desktop site, so you can go to meta.ai, and I'm totally down to share the screen.
Yeah.
But it's slightly different than the app because you have to log in, so you have to have a Meta account, right? So a Facebook account.
I would say probably the vast majority of people that are listening to this show, myself included, I didn't even realize there wasn't. Now,
I didn't know till they trained me.
Yeah, I've seen the ads for the WhatsApp AI Llama.
And Instagram, it's on there.
Right.
It's native in those apps.
Right, but I've never seen anything for the Meta AI app, which is odd. And why is that? And there they are. Maybe it's just something that they're building, and maybe it's not as good right now. I've never used it. So what did the training tell you? Maybe you can even do a screen share here.
I'll share my screen. So if you're at perpetualtraffic.com/YouTube, you'll see that I'm going to meta.ai. But if you're listening from your phone, or even if you're watching on YouTube as well, you can download the app. There's an Apple app and an Android app. But the thing I want to note is on my account, I didn't have this Canvas and Imagine option. So it's similar to your user interface with ChatGPT and other solutions, where you have the ability to talk, which is how I use chat. I don't like texting anymore. I like word dumping, but you have the option to either type or submit with talk, but then you have Canvas and Imagine. So Imagine allows you to create images, and then Canvas allows you to add more details and context. But this is on screen, what you can see is here's two different conversation threads. And when I use it in Instagram and Meta, I'm just continuing the same conversation. Versus here, you can jump back in and see other conversations. So it gives you that history that I haven't personally experienced in the social apps when I've been using Meta AI. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm logging in right now, and I didn't have the talk sort of enabled unless I actually logged in. So I just sort of logged in. So I'm seeing the same thing now.
Okay, amazing. And so on this, again, if you're using any type of chat platform, this is a competitor to Gemini, to Google, or to Claude, to ChatGPT, of course, but it's done within Meta's ecosystem. And what's cool here is you have this shared feed. So you have what a lot of people will use with Midjourney. You can see what other people are creating and other AI tools as a source of inspiration. I mean, come on, Tiny Chef cats chop giant ingredients in miniature world. That's super duper
Pope Leo
cute.
wins hot dog eating contest.
Well, what's weird is that those hot dogs have ketchup, and that's not a Chicago thing. So I would improve that. But I bet you let's see what the socialization is of this.
It's funny. A lot of yours are the same as mine. It's not super personalized.
It's a public feed. Yeah. Because I haven't given it enough. But look at the comedy of this. You're getting community that is missing. So what I've clicked on is the Pope Leo wins hot dog eating contest, who has a national hot dog belt, a la wrestler style. But look, you can comment, you can remix it, you can like it. You have engagements on the stuff that you're creating. So it's very collaborative and very social forward.
And because you don't have much history here, and I don't have any history, our feeds are basically the same. I have to sort of assume, all right, there's Pope Leo. I got him on mine now. Rave, Metaverse, a lot of the same stuff. So it's not personalized yet, but I would imagine once you start entering more data in or you ask it more questions, then this is going to become more personalized. It's like a feed. It's like a mini feed. It's like an AI feed
Yeah. Of like,
inside
what are
Meta.
people doing? So then it begs the question of like, hey, if you're posting stuff, does this get public, right? So then just be like, in that, like jumping to the training, what I had done was like a lot of it, which for any language model, context is so relevant, is so critical to what you're going to get. And I think a lot of us get frustrated with AI because we poorly prompt AI.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll just be like, that's not what I wanted. Stop giving me the answer. Why are you ignoring my previous instructions? And I loved when they'd said something that I've never heard before. So I'm going to give credit to Meta introducing this. You have to be careful with your context, because if you give too much context, you devalue what's higher. They don't know where the priorities are. So I've done this. I've been super guilty. I'm like, here is everything. And I expect you to understand what is prioritized without me telling you it.
Right.
So I'm like, create this campaign. Like this example I done was like, create this campaign for Memorial Day weekend, 5 cleaning products for $10. My market are tired moms with multiple children in their households. And they are work from home moms and don't have the time to clean. And they definitely don't have the time to go find the cleaning supplies for them. So I was like, write me an email campaign with a headline so that I can appeal to this market. And that would be like the normal context. Like I would just dump.
So the AI says, I don't know which of these things is the most important in that litany of like 7 or 8 different things that I'm supposed to write about. So the output isn't as good.
So because AI is going to be confused. What's more important? That this is a tired mom who doesn't have time to go shopping? Is it because it's Memorial Day weekend? Is it the sale itself of 5 products for $10? Like we have been in this, like when I say timeline of how we treat AI, like our expectations have evolved. But not only have our expectations evolved, our understanding of how to get better has evolved, which I think arguably helps me become better as a person, because now I am spending 20 to 30 minutes per prompt. And I don't say prompt as like, hey, create me a campaign. I'm saying 20 to 30 minutes to building the prompt before I get the output I'm asking for AI. And like my number one tip for anyone that's using AI is to always ask AI, pause before you start making and giving me any solutions. Ask me at minimum 3 questions, one at a time, of what more information you need so that you can deliver the output I actually want.
Okay. So an example, you're saying that example for that cleaning products
So I'll do it here.
promotion.
I'm like, create a marketing campaign. I'm just going to type it live. Like, create a marketing campaign for Memorial Day weekend. So I'm at Carter Schools. So this is a school that services kids 0 to like 8 years old, right? They have got this bowling alley because they have emerging curriculum or enrichment programs as well as like regular programs. So I'm like, create a marketing campaign for Memorial Day weekend for Carter Schools in Virginia. Promoting the summer camp for kids ages 7 to 10, highlighting the robotics and AI-enabled programming alongside ballet, because they have a ballet studio here. Ballet,
They've got
theater,
a disco too,
and sports. They do have a disco room. Like, I need to like take you on a tour. They have a disco room. It's so cool. You can like jump on these matches. I wish I was a kid here.
I need to go back to school.
And then, so I'm going to say like Memorial Day weekend campaign. And we're going to say the promo is, this is not a promo. I'm just making one up. I'm like, the promo is have 3 kids. Your 3rd is free. Something to that effect. This isn't very good language, but I'm just showing what that example is. So I would send this as a prompt that I would have done in 2021. Now, what I would do is like, what is the information you need that I have not yet provided you?
This is all in the same prompt. So you're adding
3
this now.
questions. Yeah.
Okay.
At minimum, that give you the answers you need that I neglected to tell you. So I do that. Like, do not give me a solution until you feel satisfied with all of the context you would have needed. And then I'm going to say one more thing is like, also, please. I know you're not supposed to write please and stuff, but I I put my tonation. I'm like, please, 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 ask me the questions one at a time so that we're ultimately building a creative brief that yields the best email, subject line, and copy to excite parents in the Virginia DMV market to enroll their kids this summer. Okay, so that's a
quite a prompt.
graduation. It gets even bigger. Something that so this is adding that do not continue is something I've started maybe last 6 months. And then before that, so first was the first part of the prompt. Then what I've added is by the way, I add the context of who I want them to give me the voice to. Because if I don't tell them who to act as, it's going to be as if I'm asking any stranger on the street. So I'm saying by the way, you're expertly trained on Ogilvy, Hermosi, and Frank Kern marketing styles because you're just as smart as Lauren Petrullo of the Perpetual Traffic podcast. I mean, I'm being facetious here, but and this isn't how I would have structured in a different way, but for telling the story, I'm I need to make sure you know who I'm establishing you as, what background you have, what authority you have to come with me to the answer. I'm telling you what I want. I'm giving you context. And I have to tell you that I told them what the task is, right? The task specifically is write the best email subject line and copy. The context is parents in the Virginia market, and then it's a Memorial Day weekend for Carter School. And then I'm giving them the format of I want you to be Ogilvy, Hermosi, Frank Kern trained so that you're not just a random from the street. Does that make sense on how I'm doing this prompt?
Totally. I would do the way that I do it when I insert a prompt into Gemini ChatGPT is I start because you know what I mean? It's you are the greatest headline copywriter on the planet in the Ogilvy, Hormozy style.
Yeah.
And then here's my question to them. It's that. So it's the output is so similar. I'll oftentimes say, because we have so much data, write this like Ralph Burns of Perpetual Traffic. Now we've got gazillions of words out there because all of our shows are transcripted that they can pull from and all these other sorts of things. And I find that insanely, think
the order, that's probably more how I do it as well. Putting who you are, but I can tell you for sure it is insanely better when you're giving them context of who you're on. Because if you're looking for someone to review a contract, hey, can you act as Aaron Brockovich, the lawyer, and call out for me any parts of this contract that are sneaky? Or if it's hey, there's a deal that's been proposed to me. Can you act as Roland Fraser of Scalable and help me find creative ways to make this deal financeable for me?
I'm
even better than
surprised
what Cody Sanchez could do.
How few people do use this for legal. Now, I would not recommend if it is a highly sensitive matter, or take down the company moment, as I sort of say inside Tier 11, get the $400 an hour lawyer. However, for stuff that is kind of every day, this is just
NDA,
it's just
non-compete agreements. I mean, again, this is not lawyer. This is not legal advice in any capacity.
No, absolutely
but I
not.
like having it. I've sent my MSA is 28. My lawyer who drafted my contract lawyer worked for the Queen of England. That was brought down from over 40. And it's I need someone to can you rewrite this for me so that a 5th grader could understand?
Right.
And I know I'm not saying this is passing off liability. I'm just trying to have better comprehension. And I'm trying to submit Apple's terms of service. Tell me the things that are the call out. What are the knockout questions? What are the components that I'm going to be surprised by?
I love that prompt, read this contract like you're Aaron Brockovich from from the movie, which I just saw for the first time a month ago. I can't believe I'd never seen that movie. Oh my God.
Oh,
it's
really?
So great. Yeah, it was phenomenal. Chad's you've never seen it? I'm no, I don't know. Anyway, it's fabulous. But I mean, looking at that, reviewing contracts, I haven't really done that. That's a good one. That's a writer downer there for me, because I hadn't even thought about it. I always think about it as sort of more of a creative texter downer. Yeah, either way, or prompter downer. No, the point is reviewing stuff to be able to figure out where the gotchas are in an agreement. That's 40 pages long. And you're like, oh, do I send this to my lawyer or not? We're talking like you're a director of marketing or a CEO or CMO. Like this is the kind of stuff you're doing all the time. So is this a time-saving device for you? 100%. Like not just a marketing tool.
I would say it's efficient though, because I wouldn't say it's a time. I'm careful of the term time-saving because in this, I mean, we've been using AI personally, Gen AI, since Jarvis, now Jasper, came out.
Yeah.
So 2021, 2020, I think. And
time efficient. How about that?
Time efficient, yes. Time savings, no, because I've hired more people. I do more work because of AI. It's like when I got a calculator in middle school, I was just doing more advanced math. I still had an hour a day of math. I was just no longer spending the time working on 3 problems. I was now doing 25 problems because I had a calculator. So it wasn't time savings. It was an advancement of how I'm doing. So it's like when people are like, oh, AI is so time efficient. I'm like, no, I've hired more people. I do more work. I do better quality work. And then even with this, like Ralph, I like really mean it when I say originally my prompts were tiny. This, what I'm showing you right now, like I said before moving forward, can you confirm you understand the initial prompt?
We're still over on the prompt. We're still doing the prompt, by the way, over at perpetualtraffic.com.
I don't consider this being done.
Okay. Let's see what Meta generates. We're generating here over on our YouTube channel, perpetualtraffic.com/YouTube. Of course, but you can do this on the app, the Meta AI app. We're kind of comparing. Like you've never used this before, so we don't really know what we're going to get here first.
Well, I used it when they did the training, and I had done it from my phone, but I wanted to talk about like how like on the, I think the desktop is better, honestly, because it has canvas and it has the ability to imagine, so you can create design.
Yeah,
but
that's kind of cool.
This, what I've done, like it's saying, like I understand the initial prompt. You're looking for a marketing campaign to promote Memorial Day weekend Carter School summer camp in Virginia, targeting parents aged 7 to 10. The camp offers a unique blend of activities, including blah, 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 blah. So I'm getting validated.
It's good.
The promotional offers have 3 kids. Your 3rd kid is free. That's not very good copy, but that's fine. To create an effective campaign, I'd like to ask some clarifying questions. Here's my first. What is the specific geographic area within the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia region that the Carter schools serve or want to target for this campaign, i.e. Northern Virginia? So where I have it asking me questions, my prompt is not over. My prompt is not over until I receive the end product being for. So I am not spending less time. I'm spending more time because I don't, in the past, give this much context and information in ClickUp where I'm doing a project management task request to an employee that I'm talking to in a meeting. Like I am giving more info than I've ever done before. And that's evolving me, not just here in chat, but in IRL and virtual conversations as well, which is where I'm like, I'm seeing this like behavioral shift. I will probably spend another 10 minutes working on this prompt until it gets to be the place where it knows everything it needs so that then the output is done. So I spend more time prepping and less time in revisions.
All right. So you've given it the initial prompt. It's now given you some questions back. Next step is what?
I'm going to keep having this dialogue now with like AI and essentially the AI I'm creating for myself. So it's not a conversation with Lauren, but it's a conversation with this now trained individual that's going to get to know and like and understand me a bit more. So I'm going to keep going until I hear from the go ahead. I'm like, okay, now you're allowed to create the ask.
And we're all using Meta AI. So far, like what you're seeing with this, how does this compare to ChatGPT, Gemini? What's their big, like they have it, but where's the application? What's your sense?
My sense is that where it's going,
you find out more tomorrow, I guess, maybe, and that will be our follow-up episode next week. So,
but it's definitely going to be. I mean, we can see Meta AI and Llama in the Ads Manager platform. You can create images, you can create copy. It's the exact same format. It's just now you have it into a place like a Google Drive folder, where you have more of that. So I think the integration is like you using Meta AI will make it integrated into Ads Manager better. That's where it's going.
100%. Well, we're going to do a follow-up episode on this because you're going to get some findings tomorrow with some congressmen and the head of AI who's like your doppelganger, apparently. Is that true?
She's the head of policy with Meta.
Oh, head of policy.
But the head of AI is, the head of AI is like this like shorter Japanese woman, incredibly smart, incredibly intimidating. But Diana, who's like in charge of policy and stuff, I swear, like we stand side by side and you're like, Lauren?
I'd like to have you host that show, Doppelganger, if you can. But anyway, we'll figure that out. So anyway, you'll have lots of learnings from tomorrow's meeting. And I'm off to Italy this week. Like, I'm
Che bello.
psyched. So, it's going to be 10 days. So I'm pretty excited about that. That's the big news here. I won't be thinking about AI at all. I don't know what I'll
You'll
be
be
doing.
thinking of pizza, pasta, vino.
Gotta watch the pizza though, because it's, the animal products, cheese.
I know,
Cheese
I
I
don't
gave
know
up.
how.
Actually, I had some cheese this weekend. It was like a violent reaction because I hadn't eaten any dairy products, any animal meat in like 8 weeks. And all my like cardiovascular levels are way down, which is cool. And my doctor doesn't realize. He's like, yeah, there's like a little bit of drop. I'm like, you didn't know that I wasn't taking one of my drugs. Like, I was doing it every other day as opposed to every day.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, it's the real deal. So more updates on that to come. We'll see how well
Very
I stick
excited.
to the
I can't believe you're
diet.
going to Italy as a vegan.
I have to go to
All the
Italy,
cheese.
right? Like the most delicious food ever. And I'm going to be going somewhat vegan. Anyway, well, this has been great here today. Make sure that you do watch this over on perpetualtraffic.com/YouTube. Like I said, we're going to have a follow-up show for next week about what happens in the meeting with you and the Meta people, as well as a bunch of Congress people, or just, we're just going to say Congress. So make sure that wherever you do leave, wait a second, Kevin, make sure that wherever you listen to podcasts, you leave a rating or review. Makes us get to a larger audience to teach people how to do this stuff the right way. And of course, all the resources, everything that we mentioned here on today's show are over at Perpetual. On behalf of my amazing co-host, Lauren E. Petrullo.
Ciao.
Ciao. I'm going to be saying that a lot next week. Till next show. See ya.